G'day everyone. Wednesday, the 20th of August, Johnny. And as promised, let me position you up next to me because it looks a bit weird. That's better. As promised, our long-awaited interview with My Le Trinh after the latest court round, and this is going to be an interesting story, John.
Yeah, they're always interesting stories. Anything to come out of the judicial or quasi-judicial system in Australia relating to APRA and anything medical. So yeah, I'm certain the viewers out there will be thinking, "Wow,
Absolutely, Miley. It's great to have you back on the program. Everybody loves having you on Club Grubbery. We love having you on Club Grubbery. How are you feeling at the moment?
Thank you for having me on your show. I feel good after the hearing. Yeah, it went better than I expected it. So, yeah. Um,
Okay, well, please feel free to dive in. Give us a
sure.
blow-by-blow description of what happened on in the court and where you see it all going.
Sure. A few people get confused about my previous hearing that I've been to. So, I just want to give people an overview of what happened so that they could follow this proceeding. So, in the past, I've been a GP for almost 30 years, and I've never had a complaint made against me before until October or until September of 2021, when two complaints were made against me. And on the day, and on receipt of that two complaints, the medical council scheduled a Section 150 hearing. And on that day, I was suspended. So I've been suspended 3 years and 10 months. Um, and during this time, I took the medical council to the tribunal to challenge on jurisdiction, to challenge a legislation. And then I appealed. That decision was dismissed, and I appealed in a court of appeal, and that decision was dismissed as well. And that was heard in March of 2024. Now, during the period when I was challenging jurisdiction, they initiated this prosecution proceeding against me. So, in the legislation of the Healthcare Complaints Commission, in the legislation of the Health Practitioner Regulation National Law, the law that governs health practitioners, they proceed to do what we call a Section 149C, which is a section of the law that if they prove that I've I'm a danger to the public, then they could proceed to the tribunal. They could file an application to the tribunal to cancel my license. So this is a proceeding that I've been facing since December of last year, and but it had started since August of 2023. Um, the reason for the delay of the hearing was partly because I suffered with severe PTSD as a result of all these um, prosecution or persecution rather, and I had medical reason to have it adjourned. Now, initially, the hearing was supposed to be in July, but that hearing got adjourned further, and the reason was that I had I didn't have any money, so uh, uh, I had to approach my insurance company for help, and they supposed to support me legally for this proceeding, and so they gave me a lawyer and a barrister, but they were how do I say, they were in the middle. They had to be at every of my meeting and with my lawyers. I couldn't see my lawyer on my own. They had to be there every single time. But what happened after working with them for about a month was that I was going to go to the hearing without any expert witness, without any evidence, without anything at all. And so I was going to lose that here at that hearing. So I decided to dismiss them. And as a result of that, I was able to file for an adjournment, and that was approved by the tribunal. So my hearing then set for December and March, December of last year and March of this year. So I had 4 days of hearing in December and 3 days of hearing in March. Now, the accusation against me, there were two things. There are two things. One is that I'm practicing significantly below standard, and that could result in cancellation of my license. And the second is that I failed to comply with their coercive order for the medical files of a group of patients, and that failure to comply with the order could result in cancellation of my license. So that was what the hearing was about. And on the first day of the December hearing, the expert witness for the Healthcare Complaints Commission admitted that I saved the woman's life with my treatment. So, and that response wasn't elicited by my barrister, but by the judge. So the judge asked the expert witness, and he said that I saved the woman's life. Now, to a lot of my friends, they said that at that point, the hearing should have been dismissed, and there was no case against me, because the role of the Healthcare Complaints Commission is for protection of the public. Now, if there isn't any risks to the public, why are they pursuing me? Why are they trying to cancel my license? I have a good record of almost 30 years. Why isn't that significant? Why are they coming after me? So during the hearing, I was able to have world-renowned expert witnesses to support me. I had Professor Clancy, our most eminent immunologist in Australia, who support my treatment of this patient, and the use of ivermectin. And by the way, I prescribed ivermectin before it was banned, so I did nothing wrong. It was an off-label use. Patients were consented, were informed and consented. So there was nothing unlawful in the way I prescribed ivermectin. And I also had Dr. Pierre Corey from the US, who treated thousands and thousands of COVID patients who had no issue with the way I treated any of the patients. And my treatment regime, which they keep criticizing, it's called post-steroid. It's not something that I created. It's something that's in the medical profession's been using for years. So I had, and I had 3 other doctors supported me. So these experts stood by me and support everything that I've done, and there was nothing unlawful at all, and I haven't put anyone at risk. And their expert witness, they had 2. So the other expert witness was a professor who's never treated anyone with COVID before, and who was responsible for producing a guideline. Well, he's one of many who were on the panel to produce this guideline for doctors to manage COVID-19 during the pandemic. So, we were shocked by the fact that an expert who's never treated, who's got no experience in treating COVID-19, was responsible for providing a guideline for doctors. And I was criticized for not following the guideline. And that was what they said I'm guilty of. I'm guilty of not following the guideline, because the guideline indicated that I shouldn't have used ivermectin for treatment of COVID-19. But the fact is that guidelines are guidelines. They're a guide for doctors, and if I treat patients depending on their clinical situation and based on my knowledge and clinical judgment, not based on guidelines. Guidelines are just a guide. And so that was what I was facing. Throughout the hearing, I've not just me, but people who came to witness the hearing did not believe that I have a fair hearing, and that the members of the tribunal were biased in the way I was treated when I was on the stand, and also my expert witnesses were subjected to prolonged questioning, and they just didn't get to the point. They gave them such a hard time going over minor issues. I felt that the hearing was dragged. It dragged on for many days, because initially it was only scheduled for 4 days, and then it got stretched to 7 days. Anyway, the hearing that I was facing on the 11th of August, that was the last of the hearing that's scheduled. That was for the closing submission. I had some dispute with my with my barrister. He didn't. I wanted to put some arguments in the closing submission, and he disagreed with me, and I don't know why that is, because these were points that are very important to me. So as a result of that disagreement, I had to dismiss him, but I couldn't find a suitable barrister to represent me. So I decided to, and also I was past the date to submit my submission. So I decided to do it by myself and submit the closing submission. Sorry, I just got an interruption. So sorry about that. Yep.
That's okay. Wow. So, let's just recap. Basically, the way I'm understanding this, John, is that My Le did not disobey any rule. She went against some guidelines, maybe, but everything that she did was legal at the time. She prescribed ivermectin when it was legal to prescribe ivermectin. You've done everything within protocols that would normally not even raise the eyebrows of anyone in the health bureaucracy, and you mounted the best defence with some of the finest minds in the world defending your actions against someone who hadn't even treated a COVID patient, and you're still going through this stuff. John, where am I missing anything here?
No, you're not, Hoodie. And I think to add to that, there was only 3 complainants, one of whom couldn't be found, John Smith or something. The other one was a junior doctor in Westmead Hospital, who was likely acting under instructions from a senior colleague or mentor. And then I think it was the medical council themselves who are essentially that they make decisions. So I mean, how can the decision maker be a complainant? It just beggars belief that could occur. And beyond that, one of the witnesses for them was to the best of my knowledge giving that evidence whilst being treated in St Vincent's Hospital for an illness that later took their life within a number of days. So, I mean, how lucid was this person? To be giving expert testimony from a hospital bed, just absolutely beyond belief. And no surprise that these people originate from St Vincent's Hospital. That's been the the hospital of choice. I mean, they've got the long COVID clinic, haven't they? The funding just keeps going to St Vincent's Hospital. They were at the centre of the issues with Diesel, which need further investigation down the track. They have been COVID mad, COVID vaccine mad at St Vincent's Hospital, demanding patients get vaccinated. So, when you look at it all in context, Hoodie, it is absolutely outrageous what's gone on here to My Le in this quasi court.
And doesn't the name John Smith pop up occasionally in AHPRA's cases? He seems to My Le. He seems to just pop up, this John Smith. What do you know about him?
So John Smith complaint was to me is it's a fraudulent complaint and should not have been used against me. So John Smith claimed that he's got a friend whom whom I prescribe ivermectin for, and his friend doesn't have worms, and he believed that he alleged that I am an anti-vaxxer and that I promote the treatment of an alternative treatment for COVID-19 on an online forum, and that I'm a danger to the public. And he also said that he knew exactly how many ivermectin scripts I've prescribed. Now, what's interesting with the allegation of John Smith is that the prescription that John Smith submitted as evidence against, or that there's a connection with me and with ivermectin, that prescription, he's supposed to redact all the information so that I can't identify who the patient is. But what happened is that John Smith forgot to redact the Medicare number. So that allowed me to trace back whom that prescription belonged to. And that prescription happened to belong to a family member of mine. And I knew exactly where that prescription went because I was the person who took that prescription to the chemist. And I left the prescription at the chemist because they ran out of supply of ivermectin. And so when I got the complaint, the John Smith complaint, I went back to the chemist and I said, I want my prescription back. And so the chemist assistant said to me that they had handed that over to AHPRA agent. So the prescription, if the prescription was in the hands of AHPRA agent, how did it land in the hand of John Smith? So is John Smith linked to AHPRA? I've asked AHPRA this many, many times. I've written to them many, many times, and I demand an answer from them, and they said they don't know anything about it. So this is fraud. This is fraud. And, AHPRA and the Healthcare Complaints Commission and the Medical Council have the responsibility to report this to the police for an investigation.
Wow.
And it shouldn't be used against me. But what's worse is that there seemed to have been a collusion. There's evidence of collusion between the John Smith complaint and the Westmead complaint. So in the AHPRA, so both of these complaints went through the same portal, the AHPRA portal, and it was done on the same day and it was only done hours apart. So John Smith indicated that the time. So there's a question on the portal that asks what period, which time frame did you have issue with this doctor? So that question supposed to relate to the clinical interaction with the patient and the clinician, and John Smith indicated that it's from the 1st of September to the 27th of September, which is the day that they lodged the complaint against me. And the Westmead complaint indicated it was the 1st of August to the 1st of September. Now, if John Smith and Westmead complainant, the intern and her superior, if they didn't know each other, how could they line up the dates so perfectly? So, and the thing is that neither complainant quote the date correlate to the clinical time period of time that I had interaction with them. So the Westmead patient I had clinical interaction with her between the 28th of August to the 13th of September, but they quoted the 1st of August to the 1st of September, so it didn't line up. However, the two complaints, two independent complaints supposedly, and we don't know who John Smith is, but the dates line up perfectly. Now, this could only be done by someone who know the system well, who's part of the regulators, because they know that if they have a gap, if they have a time gap in between those period of time, they can't question me on that period of in question. It's going to be a continuous period so that they can investigate me just before or during the pandemic anyway. So I questioned this I put this to the regulator that I said that there's collusion between the two complainants. So going into this hearing, what the Healthcare Complaints Commission did was that they remove the report. So when you make a complaint through a portal, a report will be generated, and that report was submitted as a complaint to me. Now, what happened is that the Healthcare Complaints Commission removed that report from the submission going to this hearing. They didn't have that in evidence at all because they didn't want me to raise this up and that I have documentation to show that the two complaints were colluding between the two complainants. So there's a lot of evidence to suggest that the health regulators or someone who worked in a health regulator was setting me up basically. Also, John Smith's allegation against me, saying that he knew exactly how many ivermectin script I prescribed, that information can only come from the health regulator. No one can obtain my prescribing data at all. Even I can't access that. Only the health regulators could. So everything indicated that someone in health regulator has been involved in setting me up, or the health regulator themselves. So this is a really, really serious issue. And to try to cancel my license based on the fact that there's no patient harm, based on the fact that there's no patient complaint, no patient actually made a complaint against me. So even the Westmead complaint, the patient did not consent to that complaint being made against me.
So,
yeah.
And look, that Westmead complaint, let's just put that into context. And I'm not saying that this might not otherwise happen, but it would not be my experience that an intern or a very junior doctor in a hospital, a teaching hospital, trauma hospital, would take it upon themselves to go on and make a complaint in an external regulatory bodies. It just would not happen to the best of my knowledge. That would be escalated up through the governance channels of the hospital. the same as, Hoodie, if you're on the flight deck and something became obvious to you that needed to be reported, you would report it up through the chain of command, and then, you know, the senior management would make a decision about how they deal with it with CASA or whatever the situation may be. This is the same here. I just don't see how some junior doctor in a teaching trauma hospital would have the time, for one, or have the understanding to even do that. I mean, it beggars belief.
Or would even run the risk of damaging their career by making a vexatious or ludicrous claim against another doctor. You wouldn't do that at the beginning of your career.
No.
It's just you don't need a profound sense of smell to smell a rat in this cheese factory, do you?
No.
It's collusion, it's criminality at its finest. So, Miley, you find yourself giving your final submission before the court. Touch on that, and also we really want to hear what the judge's response was.
Yes. So so when I started to work on the closing submission, I worked out that this illegality of the case before the tribunal, and that I can prove that they have no jurisdiction on my case because so the complaint that is before the tribunal was purely based on the third complaint, the medical council complaint, and the crux of my case is based on the illegality of that complaint, that third complaint that was made by the medical council. So I was able to look through the document and work out exactly and prove that the basis was just on that complaint alone. So what happened is that after my suspension in October of 2021, the medical council supposed to refer my matter to the Healthcare Complaints Commission. And the law required them to refer, but it's a referral. It's not to make a complaint against me, because you can't, like John was alluded to earlier, you can't have a decision maker who adjudicate over the matter, then became a complainant. And so that was exactly what happened. The same panel of people that suspended me became a complainant on the same matter, and that matter was being investigated by the Healthcare Complaints Commission. Now, what happened is that they didn't, I wasn't able to work this out the whole time. So it wasn't until going into this proceeding that they submitted an internal email which revealed that, and I managed to pick that up in when I was working on my case. So this email was dated back in November of 2021. The medical council wrote an email to the Healthcare Complaints Commission saying that the two initial complaints, the John Smith and the Westmead complaint, had been dropped. That's no longer an issue. And it is the third complaint that is the basis of an ongoing investigation. So this wasn't revealed to us. So the whole time, both the Medical Council and the Healthcare Complaints Commission concealed this information from me and from my legal team. And the whole time, they make it as if there were three complaints. Now, what's worse is that the Medical Council made a complaint against me, but they never handed or served me the complaint at all. So they never said to me, My Le Trinh, we have a complaint against you. These are the allegations. And they supposed to then give me an opportunity to respond to that. Well, they didn't do any of that. It wasn't until my lawyer challenged them about 6 months later that they own up to it, that there was a complaint against me. And that complaint, they said, was a document that they sent to me for reasons for my suspension. So the document that the Medical Council produced and gave it to me to say, these are the reasons why we suspended you on the 27th of October 2021. These are the reason, and blah, blah, blah. But 6 months later, they said that document was a complaint. So you see what happened? That wasn't a complaint at all. That was, to me, a document that they told me why they suspended me. So it's how do I say? It's they can't claim that that's a complaint. Moreover, they conceal that complaint because that complaint is illegal. It's unlawful. You and they meant to refer. They're not meant to make a complaint against me. So what happened is that the two original complaint wasn't up to, they weren't valid and they can't be used against me. That's why they had to drop that complaint, and they create an internal complaint. They conceal that. They pretend that all three complaints were taken into account, and then they proceed against me based on only on the third complaint. But the whole time, they confound me by putting all the the file numbers of the two original complaints in there as well. So they tricked me into believing that there were three complaints made against me when there was only one, an unlawful one.
So, this also points to the inadequacy and the incompetence of the body itself, that it didn't pick up that it was making such blatant errors.
No, I disagree. It's not incompetency at all, Hoodie. It's not
deliberate. Well, at the worst case scenario, these people are adjudicating over the way our practitioners practice health in this country. They're either doing it criminally or negligently or both, and it's just reprehensible.
The only reason this is even at the medical council to begin with is because of two complaints. And those two complaints have since been withdrawn because there wasn't enough evidence actually to support the complaints moving forward. But the medical council decides that in spite of that, they will make a complaint based on two complaints that don't have any evidence to move forward. I mean, it's like a Monty Python film.
It is. And the fact that you don't even realise how treacherous this is when it comes to the court, when someone astute like Miley picks it up, means you're a dodo. You shouldn't even be there. Unbelievable. Yeah. So where do you go from here now, Miley? How did the judge respond to your summary?
So the basis of my closing submission is to prove that there's no jurisdiction over my case, and and there's no jurisdiction for him to rule over an invalid complaint, and he should dismiss it. Mm-hmm. So I was able to present my argument. So what happened at the hearing was that originally I filed an application for a friend of mine to speak on my behalf, because I felt that he was able to speak better than me and that he could present the case for me. So the judge, the Healthcare Complaints Commission opposed the application vehemently. And so we then had to justify why I needed the friend to represent me. And the judge agrees with the Healthcare Complaints Commission. So my friend the application wasn't accepted, so I had to present the case myself. Now, what helped me, I believe, was not so much because the judge was nice to me, but because I wrote a very strong letter to the president of the tribunal 3 weeks before my hearing. I said that I was not happy with how the proceedings had been conducted, and that the members of the tribunal did not show impartiality at all, and that was blatant bias throughout the hearings. And I wanted her to intervene and make sure that this hearing, in the closing submission, that it was going to be done correctly and properly. So what happened is that letter fortunately turned into a complaint against the members. So the tribunal had an investigation over the members, on these members. So on the day of the hearing, the judge was really, really kind to me, and he gave me, this impartiality, or there appears to be some degree of impartiality, and I was given an opportunity to speak and to present my case. And that helped me. I was able to do a very good job in showing where the invalidity of the case and the unlawful nature of the proceeding against me. So I did. I had plenty of time to do that, and he gave me he afforded me the time, and I wasn't sort of harassed or interrupted. And I've done a much better job than the Healthcare Complaints Commission.
Well done, you. Well done. So where to now? I mean, if this falls over, do you have any other avenues? And are those avenues potentially more beneficial than this one coming out in your favour?
Yes. So the tribunal has two choices. Well, in my mind, they have two choices. One is to dismiss it entirely and rule in my favour. Because they don't have jurisdiction. The other is that they can rule against me. And if they do that, I will appeal. Now, they indicated that they won't release the judgment until December. And for reasons because they can't get the transcript done fast enough, and I disagree. But anyhow, if I want to appeal, because I'm not just fighting for my license, I'm fighting for something a lot bigger than that. And that's the legislation that I challenged in the Court of Appeal earlier in March of 2024, because that ruling was to me incorrect. The court has got it wrong, and so I'm doing it again. So this legislation is a very important legislation, and it would apply to John Larter's case as well. So when the Council for Health or the Healthcare Complaints Commission if at any time they consider that the matter, the complaint or the matter before the health practitioner is serious and it could warrant a suspension or cancellation, they have to refer that matter to the tribunal. So the tribunal is an independent body who then look at the merits of the case and make a decision. And this is a legislation in the health practitioner regulation law, section 145D, capital D1, and it states that they have a duty and they must refer. So it's a mandatory referral. It's not, they can't get away with it. And this referral stops the Medical Council and the Healthcare Complaints Commission from suspending people years on end, holding them to ransom and not allowing them to work. The reason why they've been able to do this for the last 15 years is because they refuse to comply with this law. So they are the applicant of the proceeding. You're not supposed to go and appeal your suspension. So this is a right for all health practitioners to have a hearing of their matter that they've been that's been alleged or accused, about the way they practice. So they have an opportunity to argue and to present their case. And this legislation has never, I believe, it's never been enforced. It's never been used comply with by either the Healthcare Complaints Commission or any of the Council of Health for Health. So I believe that the panel of judges that decided on my case in March of 2024 got it wrong. And So if I lose this case before the tribunal, I will go to the Court of Appeal and challenge this legislation again, because it's a straightforward legislation. It's black and white. It's not even a vague. It's not even one that they have to argue about. It's so clear, and they failed to apply this legislation on health practitioners. They failed to give health practitioners a right to a hearing. This actually, it's one of the human rights, when you have a right to a hearing before an independent body, and that's part of the law, and part of we are a signatory to the UN convention. And one of the convention is that, if you've been accused of something, you have a right to a hearing, and this is part of that convention. So the health practitioners are denied human rights to have a hearing on the matter that they've been accused of, because when they refer me to the tribunal to cancel my license, the matter, the merit of my matter, the substantive legal matter of my case has never been heard at all. So they proceed to cancel my license, but the stuff that they accuse me of, I don't have an opportunity to even have a hearing on those matter. So that's how unlawful our health regulators have been for the last 15 years. And throughout, there had been many case laws where the court indicated that this is the option for the Healthcare Complaints Commission and the Medical Council to refer the practitioner to the tribunal for a hearing. There's been many case law that's challenged this, but they still refuse to do that. So this is how the system had been able to control health practitioner, because of the failure to afford health practitioner a right to a hearing.
Good
And
grief.
this is what happened with me, Hoodie. The same thing happened. They, under the Section 150, I think it is, of the national law, they suspended me, and it wasn't referred to ANCAT. And so the solicitors then took action to contest the suspension in NCAT. And in the interim, what these grubs did was they then imposed sanctions, which was essentially a whole band of completely restrictive impositions that negated you, or didn't allow you to work anyway, because it was so restrictive, you couldn't work. And so then when it got to the initial preliminary hearings, they argued that we were essentially wasting NCAT's time, etc., because they'd lifted the suspension, and we had no reason to be there. We had no jurisdiction to contest it. And so we proceeded, I think from memory, on the basis that we were contesting then the prescriptive nature of the
Restrictions.
the restrictions, and we were successful in getting those lifted.
See, the Section 150 is an interim power, so they only meant to do that on a short period of time. But while they're doing that, because they suspended you, they already got claimed that they have evidence against you and that the matter is serious. So before they even do that, they have to refer you to the tribunal. So and any complaints that come against the health practitioner has to be done expeditiously. That's what the law indicates. They can't suspend you years on end. They can't do that. They're not supposed to. The law doesn't allow them to do that. It's a manipulation and abuse of the law, abuse
And
of
we've heard
process.
of many doctors committing suicide over these indefinite suspensions.
Yes, because you can't survive without having able to the ability to work, and throughout that time, there's been like with me, they've sent me many letters of threat of putting me in jail or fining me thousands of dollars over and over. And so it's it's it damages you psychologically, and it causes you to I suffered severe PTSD, and I still do. And I'm getting better fighting this, but it's not everyone can deal with such a level of intimidation and threat by the health regulators. And not every case is clear cut. I'm fortunate that my case is really clear cut, that I am able to, I know that I'm innocent, but many cases may not be so clear cut. And that's why these people kill themselves, committed suicide. Yeah.
Wow, it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. You often say, John, you just couldn't make this stuff up. But yet they are making this stuff up.
They are.
They are. The Health Commission is making this stuff up as they go along. I mean, that is, so the question needs to be asked, what influence are they being put under, and from whom, to conduct themselves in such an unlawful and unreasonable manner, and to destroy the livelihoods, not only the livelihoods, but the childhood dreams of people who today dreamt maybe at age 5 that they would be taking out somebody's appendix, or serving in Africa somewhere to help people with a heart of service. How dare they come in and destroy that destiny? It's the same in aviation. The destiny of pilots who were as children like me at age 5 wanted to be a pilot, and have that snuffed out by bureaucrats and penny ante company CEOs and corporate departments like HR. Have them fiddle with that. That is a crime against humanity. That is a crime against humanity. That you cannot fiddle with people's destiny, and that's what they're doing. It's all social engineering.
I think what actually happened is that with the way I think the system is operating, is that they potentially could target any doctors they want, which means that they could control how medicine's practice. So you don't have to be committing malpractice or not practice the way you practice causing harm to the public. You don't have to have that. You could be a doctor who's doing all the right thing and who help the public, but because you're not a servant of big pharma, the system could potentially identify you and eliminate you. And that's exactly what happened to me. So the system's been operating like this for many, many years. And not many people able to put up a fight because there's many things that are going against the doctor, because the fact that you can't make a living anymore, so you can't afford to pay for legal fees. Your insurance company provide lawyers who appear to be always working against you, so the whole system is against you. You can't put up a good fight. I'm very, very blessed that I've got the support of the public. I'm very blessed that I have resources to fight, and I'm a fighter, so I work on my case constantly to try and figure out what actually taking place, and I try to study the law, and I talk to people, and I learn case law, etc. So I am actively involved in my case, and not all doctors have, are able to do that. And so I'm in a very unusual position, and that's why I wanted to fight this further, not just for myself, but for the health, for all health practitioners. Because if I can get the court to declare that the health regulators have to refer, the serious cases to the tribunal, then it will put an end to this abuse of power that's been going on for so many years. Yeah.
Wow. Well, we know that you're giving a good fight. I mean, this this particular matter has perhaps far more reaching ramifications than the William Bay decision. That's probably it's just another arrow in the quiver. And so we're really hoping and praying that God sustains you, My Le. I know you lean a lot into your faith. You've sent me some beautiful text messages explaining how God's been guiding you and leading you through the process. And that's uplifted me too, because your strength and your tenacity has to come from a divine source. So it's just amazing. John, any final comments?
Well, only that APRA really need to respond to all this.
Yeah.
I mean, we've put out a request formally. We've written to the incoming APRA CEO. We've had no response. It just beggars belief that these people are so unaccountable. I mean, here's an opportunity for this guy to come in and review what's gone on and where the organisation should be heading. But there's no accountability. There is no transparency, and the public are sick of it.
They are, and still, is the public have every right to ask the question: is APRA a necessary requirement for the safe and practical functioning of health in the country? If they can't be trusted, and they're intimidating the doctors that are out there doing the good work and not the cowboys, then something needs to be done. These organisations have immense power. They've been brought into every facet of our life, and they have way too much power, and they need to be brought undone, which is why there will probably be a mass of people on August the 31st in Australia who will be there for a lot more than just mass immigration. They're going to be fighting this stuff because we have had a gutful. Absolutely. So, My Le, I think we need to close this one with a prayer and ask you, please keep us in the loop so we can bring your story to more people. And I know you're not going to mind us praying over this.
No, I just want to say something. I've got a petition, and the petition is to ask the Parliamentary Oversight Committee to investigate the Healthcare Complaints Commission. So I've got about 1,500 signatures, but I want more. So the more pressure it is from the public, the more likely this is going to take place. So if you can ask members of the public to sign that petition for me.
All right. Well, if you send me the links to that petition, we'll make sure it goes up with the program tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
So we'll definitely do that. So let's pray. Dear Lord Father in heaven, we thank you for the Holy Spirit that guides some of our most courageous steps in life. We thank you, Lord, that you're always present when we stand for the good and we stand for the right. So, Father God, please guide and lead us. Thank you for being part of My Le Trin's journey, Lord. You've been there every step of the way. That's clear. And may the efforts that you've put in with her bear fruit when we see judgment come in December. And Lord, if that judgment isn't the way it should be, then guide the next step and giving us the satisfaction and the knowing that there will be a judgment one day, and it will be harsh to watch, but necessary because you deem it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank
Amen.
you.
Thank you, My Le Trinh. Johnny Larder, you've often been heard to say.
You just couldn't make this stuff up.
You couldn't, and we're not. Such a joy to have you on, My Le. And as I said, please keep us in the loop. And for everyone watching Club Grubbery, we'll be back again in a few days, a couple of days' time with some more stories. We've got some great interviews coming up. Professor Robin Cosford talking about nicotine patches and snake venom and all kinds of other things. And looking forward to more stories coming your way very soon. Also, John, we have John Ruddick, who is going to come on. Now, what's he going to be talking about?
Well, I think it's open to us to steer it in whatever direction we want, but primarily John's going to talk about migration and where we're at on that. I think it's an important subject that needs to be tackled, and we'll see what John's got to say.
That's exactly right. And on our screen is a perfect example of how immigration can work for a country in My Le, who came, from very, very treacherous and harsh background to rise to be one of our hearts to serve in this country. So let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater with all of this stuff. But, it comes back. I know we're dragging this on a bit, but it comes back to John. It's not so much people from other lands coming here. It's the fact that there's no housing for the people that are already here. And we're bringing in 1,500 people a day. Now, that's not going to serve the people who are already here, and it's not going to serve the people that we're bringing here either. It's just madness in the extreme. It's woke madness, and woke stands for willfully overlooking known evil, and that's what it is. It's just not fair on anybody except the government for nefarious reasons. So let's see where it goes, and we'll see you next time on Club Grubbery. Stay out of the trees, everyone. Thanks for watching us. Bye for now.